in my log, so I guess we'll have to get... Why don't I send it over to him? See how he's hearing me down there, I presume in Freeland, and then we'll try to flip it over to Bud before we get to the top of the hour. W3MMR and the AM carrier PreNet. This is N1VIV. How are you, sir?
W1VTP.
And there's Al, N1VIV. Good morning. This is W3MMR. The name here is Perry, Papa Echo Romeo, Romeo Yankee, located in Chester, Pennsylvania. Let me get you my log here. Yeah, located in Chester, Pennsylvania, 7 miles southwest of Philadelphia, right outside of the big city here in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Joe, got you here up there in Connecticut. Sounding good down this way. Everybody's got great signals into the Anon 200D this morning. The DX100 is on the other side of the room warming up. And maybe we'll jump on that in a little bit. Or just usually like to get on the Anon first, test out conditions, and then I'll hop over to the DX100 with the NC303 receiver. But anyway, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Gary, and good morning to you, Al. We'll send it back to you, Joe. You can pick up Al in there. So N1VIV from W3 MMR.
Yeah, very good, Perry. Well, nice to make your acquaintance. I don't know. I guess there's a chance maybe you've checked into the net before, and I just overlooked making a note of it in my tracking log. But excuse me. Very nice to hear you from Chester, Pennsylvania. Very good, just outside of Philly. Your signal's quite good with the Anon, doing a nice job, and hearing you well, so no problem at all. And good morning to Al, hearing you quite well from the Manchester area. So yeah, we've got a couple of minutes here, so let me swing it around to Bud, and then over to Al, and then it'll come back to me for a official call up of the net, I guess. So over to you there, Bud. K1IC. I'm sorry, that's not right. K1LC. A little confusion in the brain cells there. K1LC, and then over to Al, W1VTP. This is N1VIV in the AM carrier net.
Whiskey 1 Zulu Bravo.
I heard another station checking in. N1VIV, K1LC, 15 miles southeast of Boston. Good morning to everyone on the net, the PreNet, I guess it is. It's 48 degrees here, and we're expected rain this afternoon, supposedly some heavy rain. But it's a quick mover, move out of here by the evening, I guess, and tomorrow is looking a lot better. So that's good news for raking in the yard. I did get my full wave loop back up and working. It looks like it's working all right, low SWR. So hopefully it's getting out okay. I'll pass it over to Al. And W1VTP, K1LC. Go ahead, Al.
W1EKG.
I saw you have EKG, and I think there was another station.
Yeah, it was Jerry, W1ZB. We've got Jerry. And then now we've got Ross, W1EKG as well. I'm set on that, Al.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that these guys got in. I just rolled out of bed and stumbling around here. Yeah, Rosie was really singing a song. Here, come here. Come on. Come on. Say hi to her tonight. Hey. Boy, you're clumsy. Yeah, say hi to the nice guys. Huh? She's a little talkative this morning. She's being distracted. She's got ADD, I think, because the birds are having their morning feed. She's torn between us and the birds. The birds are her only form of entertainment. And her tail is swishing back and forth, waiting to attack the glass, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, why don't you go ahead and I need some adult supervision, Joe, so I'm going to let you help me out here. But here I am, not such as it is. Over to you, Joe.
Yeah, very good, Al. No trouble. I know the feeling. I'm barely 5 sips into my... Somehow I'm managing to scratch together this list in some semblance of organization. But, yeah, I was very close to... It was like 7:20. My alarm had gone off twice. I was originally planning on getting up and taking a shower early, because I do... Okay, I have plans to get to church shortly. And I just hit the snooze a couple of times, and I was like so close. I said, oh man, I might just stay in bed. And I get up. So I'm glad I did. But I'm trying to get myself up to consciousness here. It's like pretty close, within 30 seconds of 8 o'clock. So I do have Jerry. Good morning to you, Jerry. Got you in there. And then Ross, W1EKG. I think that's from Whitman, Massachusetts. Very good on that. We've got you guys in here, and it is 8 o'clock. A little more coffee here first. Okay. So let's get things rolling. I don't think we've heard from Steve, K2FW, so maybe he's lingering in the background. Maybe he's got commitments that don't allow him to be in here today, but he's noticeably absent. Official call up here. I've got the pre-net list, and I think we're in business. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the AM Carrier Net. My name is Joe. My call is N1VIV, and I'm located in Stonington, Connecticut. The AM Carrier Net meets every Sunday morning here at 8 a.m. here on 3835 on the 75-meter band. The AM Carrier Net was established for the purpose of promoting and enjoying operations in the AM mode. It's a casual net, so there's no requirement for check-in other than being able to operate in the AM mode. We certainly like to hear from new stations who are maybe just beginning to explore interest in operating AM. Whether you're trying to resurrect an old boat anchor, or maybe trying to get a more modern radio to sound good on AM on any given Sunday. There's a whole host of participants with knowledge and information to that end, so all are welcome. Please join in. The format of the net is to take check-ins by call district, and if there's check-ins during round 1, we typically tack those folks in at the end of round 1. If there's check-ins during round 2, we typically try to weave those folks in as we go. Certainly want to pause momentarily and say good morning to anybody who might be just in the listening mode, whether you're a licensed radio amateur or maybe a shortwave listener. In either case, if you're just listening, good morning. And what else? Oh, yeah, certainly want to let folks know if, for whatever reason, you're on a short timeline, and we already have some folks lined up in that arrangement. If you're on a short timeline and you need to exit the net maybe earlier than 9 or 9:15, just let me know when you check in by saying, please float me to the top so that I can put you up closer to the top of the list. So we'll get you in here and then off with whatever other responsibilities you may have. And in that end, we do have Jim, WA2MER, Howie, WF2Q, and Bob, W1GTH, up close to the top of right at the top 3 of the list, and then Gary, and then on down the list. So, I guess I'll check, maybe, Bud, are you okay? You're in like 5th or 6th position, K1LC. Are you good in that position, or sometimes you need to depart a little early, but does that work for you?
Yeah, that should be okay today, Joe. Thanks for asking.
Okay, super. I know everybody's, you have lots of juggling. Everybody does, I suppose, but I just wanted to check. That's fabulous. Okay, great. Glad you're here. And let's see. What are the formalities? More coffee, obviously. My apologies. I just have to really continue to find ways to raise my level of consciousness here, but we're getting there. All right, I think that's it for formalities. So here are the stations I've heard from in the pre-net. I've got myself, of course, N1VIV, Jim, WA2MER, Howie, WF2Q, Bob, W1GTH, Gary, Kilo 1, India, Charlie, and then we had George, WB2HJK, Perry, W3MMR from down there in Chester, Pennsylvania. Good morning and welcome to you, Perry. I think we may have talked before. I just didn't have you in my log, but we've got you in here now, so that's fabulous. Bud, K1LC, and then Al, W1VPP, and Jerry, W1ZB. Good morning to you, Jerry. And Ross, W1EKG in Whitman, Massachusetts. So let's take check-ins from the second call district. 2 land stations for the AM carrier net. Please call now. This is N1VIV.
KB2N. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Steve. Nice to hear you. We got KB2NQN in Roslyn. Excellent. Nice to hear you in here, and good morning. Very good. Any other 2 land stations for the net? Please call net. Well, nothing else heard there. But we'll be listening for additional 2 land folks. I guess certainly Jeff, WA2RAS, is conspicuously absent as well. So maybe Jeff will be joining us as we go here, but no sign of Jeff this morning. So let's see. Let's take check-ins from the first call district. 1 land stations for the AM carrier net. Please call now. This is N1VIV.
KE1MI. Good morning, Joe. WX10.
KD1SH. Good morning.
Okay, let me line this up here. Yeah, KD1SH. WX10. I think we're good on Bruce up there in Vermont, and then gosh, I gotta get a call in your. I gotta get a D in your call, and then KD1SH, right? And then sorry, I'm doing this backwards. I apologize. KE1. I'm not going in that order. I started with the last one I heard. We've got it Greg, and then Bruce, and then Bill. So, okay, good morning all the way around to the 1 land folks joining in. Quite a turnout here this morning. Let's give another listen. The last station I had was KD1SH. If there was somebody after them, let's try again, but land stations, please call now.
This is WF2Q. I really have to get out of here.
Oh, okay, Howie, go ahead. If you'd like to make a transmission now, then I'll just jump in. Any comments? Hopefully you have something fun going on this morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, WF2Q. Good morning to everybody. I was away in California for the last 2 Sundays, welcoming our new grandson. And I'm back, but we have a VE session which was moved from 10 o'clock to 9 o'clock, so I got to get out of here. Anybody on Long Island or around Long Island who wants to take a VE exam, it's at Levittown Hall. And And I will catch up with everybody next week. WF2Q, back to net.
Yeah, okay, excellent. Well, congratulations on the new grandchild. That's fabulous. And I believe you said you were out in California getting acquainted with that new part of the family. Good for you. Congratulations. That's great and fabulous on the VE session. I'm sure hopefully you'll have a good turnout, maybe some new hams, and that's always a good thing. So thanks very much. And yeah, I know we've got quite a bit of check-ins here, and it's going to be a busy morning, but certainly you have a great morning, and take care. I've got you checked in and out, so to speak. Excellent. Very good, Howie, WF2Q. We've got it. Excellent. Okay, let's see. Let's do a general call-up. Any stations anywhere? 1, 2s, 3s, 4s, and beyond for the AM carrying it. Please call now. This is N1VIV. All right, well, nothing else heard there for now, so we'll carry on. Moving up here, let's move back there. There we go, closer to 3835. Okay, so run through the order and then we'll get things rolling because I know folks need to get out of here. So I'm going to get started with a few comments, and I'm going to send it over to Jim, WA2MER, down there in northern New Jersey. We've got Howie checked in and out, so WA2MER, we'll send it over to Bob, W1GTH. Who's on a bit of a short timeline. W1GTH would send it over to Gary, K1IC, there in Fairfield. K1IC would send it down to George, WB2HJK, in Queens. WB2HJK would send it to Perry, W3MMR, down there in Chester, Pennsylvania. W3MMR would send it to Bud, K1LC, up there outside of Boston. K1LC would send it to Al, W1VTP, up in Manchester, New Hampshire. W1VTP would send it to Jerry, W1ZB in Hanover, and W1ZB would send it to Ross, W1EKG in Whitman, Massachusetts. W1EKG would send it to Steve, KB2NQN in Roslyn, New York. KB2NQN would send it to Greg, KE1MI, up there in Vermont. KE1MI would send it to Bruce, WX10. My apologies on that, Bruce. WX10. And WX10 would send it to Bill, KD1SH. Bill, if there's other check-ins, we're going to tack them in after you, and if not, we'll bring it back up to the top of the list to me, and we'll take a crack at round 2. Just to let you guys know, I'm probably going to have a limit of about 9:20-ish today, as I do need to get in the shower and then get out the door, as I want to make a commitment to getting to church this morning. So that's the story. Not much going on here other than I was not able to be here last week, as I was up in Boston for the Boston University Family Weekend. We had a really enjoyable time hanging out with our son, and it was definitely a good weekend, but a very busy weekend. So I've been kind of catching up all week on a variety of different things that need attention here on the home front, but we're getting there. A little bit of chaos last night with my son having a friend over, but no big deal. They were just up late, and I was up a little late, and no big deal. Keeping things rolling here, and those guys are still upstairs asleep for sure. And so, let's see, what else is going on here? Oh, just on the Johnson Viking 2, listening to you guys on the Hammerlin HQ129X, and not much else to report other than very brisk pace in my work life right now with the annual report for the Grant Almond, and just all kinds of stuff. Just a very, very busy, but overall things are good. Nothing to complain about, that's for sure. So let's get things rolling, because we got a decent-sized group, and I apologize, I'm already starting to buzzer away here. Let's get the folks in who need to be on the way sooner. So over to Jim, WA2MER, and the AM carrier net. Take it away, Jim. This is N1VIV.
Yeah, okay, very good. N1VIV, this is WA2MER. Good morning to everybody. Decent signals all around, as I mentioned on the pre-net. That's always a plus. So I'm running the Millen transmitter and modulator this morning into the L7, 250 watts carrier as usual, and the receiver is the HRO5TA1. It's kind of a match, I guess, for the Millen, the James Millen connection with National and of course Millen. So yeah, very, very good. So let's see what's going on here on the radio front. I have two transmitters that I picked up. They were homebrew. One of the things that I've been wanting to do forever is to homebrew my own transmitter, and considering I'm still working and have limited time, that's not happened, but I figured between these two, one's a 4-1000, and it's a linear that I will convert to Class C, and I also have a 4-150 Class C transmitter, a little thing. It needs a lot of work, so I think the 4-1000 is overkill. It was built by K2FW, by the way, which I'm surprised is not here today. I was over at QTH yesterday picking it up, and I had a really nice time having another eyeball with him, and met his wife and daughter and grandson. Lovely family, and so I had a good time picking that. But getting back to what I was saying, the 4-1000 I think is overkill, and I think the 4-125 is underkill. So I'm going to decide if I'm going to use those parts and either make a 4-250 or a 4-400. But and I unfortunately had to leave some of the iron. It must have come out of broadcast transmitters. It was mammoth, absolutely mammoth, and I think it's even overkill for the 4-1000. So at least a year from now will be before I get something on the air, because nothing happens quickly here. If it's not related to family or work, nothing happens quickly. So that's the deal. Yeah, I'm heading off to Mass this morning. When I have church mornings, I need to get out quickly, early, and I thank you, gentlemen, for your indulgence here and let me get. I've got until about 8:30, so another 15 minutes I'll pull the plug. And given the size of the group, I wasn't confident I'd get my turn by the bottom of the hour if I'd waited for the remaining, the rest of the call-up. So anyway, 73 all. Have a great week, and I'll turn it over to Bob, W1GTH from WA2MER.
WA2MER, W1GTH, Bob in Walcott, Connecticut, and on the ART-13, barefoot with about 100 watts out, and listening on the BC-348, which is the companion receiver. And yeah, good morning all, and good signals pretty much all around this morning, and thanks Gary for getting me in here. Sunday mornings I need to kind of get out of here fairly early, and so yeah, surprised Steve isn't here this morning. Hopefully everything's okay with him, but he's always a big signal. Steve and Al and actually Gary this morning was a great signal into me, although we're not that far away. Yesterday, the Southington Amateur Radio Association, of which I am a part, actually, just one town away from me, and it's the town that I grew up in. We went down and helped one of the guys. He had a problem with high SWR on certain bands. And anyway, long story short, one of the guys went up the tower and shook on the antenna while he was transmitting, and that's when bad things started happening. And so I guess we came down to a bad trap, and we think probably the 10-meter trap on his beam up there. And so he's still going to have a problem getting that down and fixing it, but at least it's a big step in the right direction because it's been bothering him for a long time, and don't know what's wrong with the trap, maybe water, maybe rust, whatever, but that's kind of the diagnosis. So anyhow, that's about it for me. Actually, last Sunday, I went down to an old high school buddy of mine down in Westbrook, Connecticut. Second time we've been down there, him and his wife. I was actually best man at their wedding when they got married back in the 50s, and my daughter and I went down there, and we had a nice dinner. We went out to the Westbrook Lobster House and chowed down, and had a great meal, and it was a good time. And he's got about three different seafood places that are within walking distance of his house there. It's got a beautiful place you can see Long Island Sound from the backyard. So anyhow, that's about it. I'll be one and done, Joe, and I believe that I'm going to turn it over to Gary, K1IC. This is W1GTH. Hopefully catch you guys next week.
Okay, very good, Bob. W1GTH and the group. This is K1IC. Good morning, all. It's a rainy day here in the, I guess it's about 40 degrees. Let me just check and see. I should have looked at that earlier. I actually did. Forgot. It's 57 here and raining, and it's supposed to rain all day. We were supposed to get somewhere on the order of 1 to 2 inches here, so I don't know whether that will actually materialize or not. And then as long as the wind stays down, then the antenna will probably stay up, and there won't be a problem because it'll be a bit of an operating day today. Otherwise, everything is going smoothly at work and very fast as well. The dredging project at the town marina where we have our Fairfield Amateur Radio club station is underway, and it appears that as of the 1st of November, we may not have access to our station for about 3 months. So that's yet to be determined, but that's what's on the docket here as well. We did a little antenna work yesterday on it. Made a contact out to Pittsburgh nicely during the contest, so it was a pretty busy time. Signals all over the place. It's the CQ Worldwide contest, which I guess is still going on. And other than that, not a whole lot new to tell you here. I've been working on the DIY rig to try to make it a little more convenient to use before I get it back into service. So there's that, and enjoying playing around and relaxing this weekend. It's the first weekend I actually had no work to do since I got it all done. So I don't know what to say. I'll probably find something else to do, read a novel or do something, but it's great. Operate the radio, certainly. All right, so that's all for this round. I don't have a lot to say, so I don't want to take a lot of time. It's a long list, and welcome George, who I hadn't met before, out there in Long Island City, and it's good to hear everybody else that's in here. Not quite normal in particular. Hope all's well. So let's see, where's the call here? WB2HJK, George in Long Island City. This is K1IC in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Okay, thanks. Before I continue, how copy?
Oh, I'm copying you fine.
You're good.
Okay, let's see what I can do. First of all, I want to thank everybody. It's a great list of people here this morning. There you have it. Hold on. Interesting, one of those guys that are jamming knows that I'm on the air. So they just tested me. They want to hear themselves on the radio. That was a phone call of a jammer. So there you have it. And with that, let's see what else. I heard, I'll give it over to Perry real quick and no long-winded things here. I'm operating a 765 by ICOM. I'm trying to make sure I'm not overdriving the mic. The antenna is an Isotron, and the amplifier is an Ameritron. The mic is a D104 crystal or ceramic, one of the two. And I heard Bob and a few others in here with great signals, of course, and great radio stations. So with that, let me give it over to Perry because it's a long list. And good morning to all of you. W3MMR, WB2HJK. Have a good one.
WB2HJK and the AM carrier net. This is W3MMR. Good morning to you, George. Good signal down here this morning. You're just about 20 over coming into the Anon 200D this morning, so no problems. The ICOM 765 sounding good this morning. Audio is nice and clean and plenty of modulation, and it's right where you need to keep it, George. So don't move it. But I know you're going to. Anyway, good morning, everyone. My name here is Perry, Papa Echo Romeo Yankee. Located in Chester, Pennsylvania, 7 miles southwest of Philadelphia, here in Delaware County. I checked in last weekend. Last weekend was my first check-in here in the net. So I figured I'd try to remember that remember that 8 o'clock was coming up and jump in here. So I'm glad I remembered. I guess we're running an Anon 200D SDR and into an AL80B. Running about just under 200 watts of carrier into a 125-foot 600-ohm ladder line fed doublet in an inverted V up about 60 feet. So those are the operating conditions. It's 62 degrees and rainy and windy and miserable here in Chester this morning. Good signals all the way around. Everybody is at least 20 over. And let me see here. Everybody is just either 20 to 25 over, so nothing to complain about here. Nothing much going on here this weekend for me. Just going to do some operating and try to maybe chase a little bit of DX since the Secret Worldwide contest is going on. So maybe there may be some countries that I don't usually hear up on 20 or 40 meters today. So that's all we have planned. Anyway, we'll keep things moving along here. And let's see who I turn it to. Okay, I turn it over to you, bud. K1LC. So K1LC in the AM carrier net from W3MMR.
And 1 ALF.
Okay. W3MMR. I seem to be hearing something I shouldn't in the monitor speaker. This is K1LC. Nice signal. It's good sounding signal coming from PA. 10 over 9 at this location. In fact, a lot of good signals. Joe was 20 over 9. Jim 10. Gary was 15. Howie, I didn't get a number on him. Bob was 20. George was 10 over 9. So those are the recordings so far that I've written down. Running the homebrew Class D, about 180 watts into a full wave loop antenna for 80 meters, and receiving on. I am picking up a hum here for some reason. I don't know what's changed, but something has, maybe. Hopefully it's not too objectionable. Let's see, what else is going on? Been raking up got a lot of leaves down on the lawn and spent a lot of time filling bags and running to the town recycle center, or dump as it's more commonly called, I guess. So I have a lot more to go, especially pine needles. My mower doesn't mulch them very well, so working on them maybe a little bit today before the rain shows up. So let's see how that goes. Can't think of much else. I had a couple other comments, but they've slipped my mind. So I'll keep it short here and pass it over to Al. W1VTP, K1LC.
Yeah, okay, but what's my signal, just for curiosity's sake?
You were 20 over 9.
Okay, good morning. Just curious. Always wondering. Well, good morning, everyone. W1VTP here, and I run a program here that memorizes call signs, and all I have to do is type in like your LC, and the whole thing comes up when I hit enter or space. But I was so disorganized this morning. The order is just completely whacked. But then what I do is I come up to the call sign, hit tab, and that gives me a place to put comments in. And that's how things work. My fingers don't work very well anymore. At 82, they shake a lot. So for some reason or other, typing hasn't slowed me down. So anyway, good morning, all. Exciting day. A couple of days for me in the camera or the photography field. I've kind of gone back to film, resurrecting a Canon FD lens series. That I've got a T90 and a A1, the Canon A1. I don't know if any of you older folks remember those cameras, but unfortunately my T90 died. Of course, you're dealing with a camera that was manufactured in 80-something, 89 or something like that, and you're always taking a chance when you're working with old cameras that something's going to fail. So it did, and I've got a roll of pictures in that camera that I have to put the camera in what they call a light bag and open it up and extract the film and wind it up into the cassette so I can send it off for processing. And I'm so proud of my A1. The A1 has been lying dormant now for at least a decade. And all I needed to do was put a battery in the thing, and she just jumped right into life. And it sports a really nice 1.2 lens, and that's a prime lens. And that is probably one of the best lenses that Canon ever put out in the FD series. So that's what I've been doing. Let me get rid of my modulation monitor so I can see what else I've got going on here. Jim, MER, great signal, good, strong signal. A little bit on the low side on modulation. I don't know if you're watching it or not, but it looked like about 50% to me. And great news on the parts for a high-level plate modulated transmitter. That sounds like a wonderful. I've got the parts, for one, but I lack the ambition and the horizontal space. Any of you folks have ever been by here, you know what I'm talking about. I had a nice visit from a friend of mine, W2TRH, Steve, and we went through the shack. He's been here before, and showed him the latest and greatest and all the parts that I picked up at Nearfest and all, and had a good time. Went over to a restaurant right next door called Mojo's, and had a really great lunch. That's a really good meat lover's pizza. Man, that was tasty. Let me tell you that. Now, I know what I'm going to get from now on when I go over there. That's the meal that keeps on giving, because I can't eat the whole pizza, so I bring it home and have little bits and pieces of it if the family doesn't consume it before I get at it. So there you go. I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm supposed to turn it over to W1ZB. If I'm wrong, just give me some adult supervision. W1VTP.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. That's correct, Al. Right over to Jerry, W1ZB. Take it away, Jerry. N1VIV. Oh, and just let me mention, we've got you in there, Rob. N1ALF. Let's see, Bill, KD1SH will send it to N1ALF. And then it'll come back to me, Rob, unless anybody else checks in before it's your turn. So over to Jerry, W1ZB. This is N1VIV.
Yeah, very good, Al and Joe. Hold on a second. I need to do a little bit of tweaking here on some meters. Yeah, okay. I hope that's a little bit better. This is W1ZB, and we're on the homebrew rig, pair of 810s, and listening on the SX17. So good signals on the net this morning. I was copying every one, even the further out stations. We're coming in well over S9 here in Andover, Massachusetts. I am using a new 80-40 meter antenna, and so far liking how it compares to the inverted V that I had been using for years. So I have been using some of the reverse beacon network receivers to do A/B comparisons between the two, and on 80 meters it seems to be about the same, maybe a little bit better, tad better. On 40 it generally is about 1 to 2 S units better with the new antenna, so that's a plus. And a week or so ago, with that nor'easter, I did lose my 160 meter antenna, so we'll be off that band for a couple of weeks. I think I'm going to wait till the leaves drop on all the trees. They're still about 80% on there, and that'll give me some better line of sight to find a new location for the antenna. Let's see, home projects. We finished up replacing all of the garage door trim. We had two doors there. Took a little bit longer than I thought, but end result was much better look. Used some of that PVC brick molding, and that should last a lifetime. So they say. Anyway, let me keep it moving. And I'm supposed to turn it over to W1EKG, and I'll be in for one round. W1EKG, this is W1ZB. Drums on the wall.
Yeah, I imagine, boy, your signal's nice and strong here, Gary. I imagine Ross would be hearing you. He might have gotten pulled away on other responsibilities, but let's give him another try here. W1EKG, if you're there, Ross, go ahead and take it. This is N1VI.
W1EKG here. Sorry about that. I was off in the kitchen and didn't, jeez, there's tuning issues here again. Okay, that's probably a little better. Yeah, I was off in the kitchen chatting with the wife. I rented a lift yesterday to, there we go, to do some work on the house, and the lift ran out of hydraulic oil at 8 o'clock last night. There we go. That's a little better. Why is it that the tuning always seems to be changing on this silly thing? All right. That's better. No, it isn't. Anyhow, so I had to take a screen off the third floor window and climb in through my son's bedroom window, and something is really weird with this transmitter this morning, and come in through the house and make a couple of phone calls, but I had to climb in through the bedroom window to to get down. It was really kind of a strange problem. But the guy is here, and the unit's low on hydraulic fluid, which is why it shut off while I was up in the air. It was kind of scary being up in the air on a lift and not having anybody around. Didn't have my phone on, of course. So anyhow, I'm going to jump out of here. NQN, I guess it is. KB2NQN. I hope I have that right. This is W1EKG 73, everybody. I got to go.
Okay, Ross. This is KB2NQN and the AM carrier net. Good morning, guys. Ross, glad that you made it. It's a good thing you're a second story, man. Wow. Get stranded on a hoist like that, a man lift. Wow. Glad you moved out of there. And hello, one and all. I was down at the Boca House last week doing some work down there. And I came in last night. There's a local flea market. That's why some of the regular, the usual suspects are missing from the net this morning. RAS probably is over there. I heard Andy on the road. He usually goes to that, but I think he's got some kind of work commitment down in Camden, New Jersey. So he's driving down now. And that's why Howie ran off to his VE session. Again, the LIMARC, the Long Island Amateur Radio, Mobile Amateur Radio Club is flea market this morning. But I got in late last night, so I think I'm going to skip today's activity. Raining here right now. 57 degrees and rain. Just to bring the guys up to snuff, Sherry sold her house. The closing is in December. And we've got a moving truck that's going to pick up items from her house and items from my house and bring it down to the Boca Raton house. So I cleared out a bunch of stuff in the garage, moved stuff from the garage into the shed down there to accept the multitudes of boxes and stuff that between us we have, as well as some minor furniture items. We're probably going to get all this stuff while we're down there. The target date for that, by the way, is June of 2020 for me. June of 2020, I'll keep you guys posted, so you'll have me to kick around for a couple more months there, Joe. Gary, good to hear you. Been a while. My neighbor across the pond. I wrapped up the boat prior to the Florida trip, so I wonder if you've done the thing. You probably have. And Jerry, ZB, hearing you the best I've ever heard you. Down here on the North Shore of Long Island, you were almost 20 over S9. You almost sounded as loud as W1VTP, who usually is the channel master. At least for me, between him and Steve. They battle it out. So almost 20 over, so your new antenna is working very, very nicely down here. And hello to Perry in Chester, also a good. I don't believe we worked before. One more item. I'm on the Flex 5000 this morning, and I have a full wave dipole for 80 meters. What was I just going to say? I hope to come back next month with the Gonsa G76. I want to start using that more often. So again, the Flex 5000 is the rig of choice this morning. And that's it from here. I'll keep you guys posted on my whereabouts. Still hanging in there, and you'll still have to kick me around until June. KE1MI, Greg up there in Braintree. Go ahead, sir. KB2NQN and the AM carrier net.
Yeah, okay, Steve. KB1NQN and the AM carrier net, KE1MI. Good morning to you, everybody here. Last I looked, right around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and overcast, raining, pretty miserable day here. Running the ICOM 7300 this morning into a 160 meter doublet fed with 600 ohm ladder line, about 100 watts or so a carrier. Nothing too special here, but been playing with this the ICOM here since I got it. It's got great receiver. Definitely has a great receiver, and I've made some adjustments on the transmit side there. Changed the tone control a little bit and a little less bass there, just to try that out. It's got some really neat functions, that's for sure. It's not plate modulated, but it seems to be working okay. Anyway, good signals here, other than the slot bucket on the side there. Good signals in here. Got the filtering bandwidth narrowed up a little bit just because of that. And there's some contest. It seems like every weekend they're getting to be this time of year where it's just nothing but contest. So seems like that's all we hear. Let's see. Boy, I don't have a whole lot to add. Got a friend of ours visiting from New York here for the week, and back to work tomorrow. And hopefully the rain will quit. I got to be doing some stuff outside tomorrow, and I really don't want to work in the rain if I can avoid it. So anyway, 73, everybody. Have a great day. And we will talk to everybody down the log. I'm going to do one round, Joe. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get some stuff done here. I'll be listening with half an ear on the second go-around, but I will finish up the first go-around here and be listening here. But one round for me this morning. So with that, 7-3 again, and I'll pass it over to Bruce. And over there in Middlebury, WX10 from KE1MI. Over.
Hey, Greg. Good morning to you and the rest of the fellows on the AM carrier net. I'm copying everybody very well. Of course, Greg, who's in the same state, is not a problem at all. It's a good signal over here, Greg. Yes, and we have rain over here, and I guess whatever we get is coming your way. That's normally what happens. So let's look at the list here and see what's going on. Oh, well, let's see. MER, congratulations on the acquiring more stuff. Well, I think that's a worthy goal. I myself have recently acquired the components of a power supply. Actually, they were all tied together, but I untied them together mostly. And I traveled up to Orono, Maine to pick up a power supply from WZ1M, Gary Brown, who apparently was in the transformer rewinding service business. And he's closed everything out. Everything is gone from his shop now. And he's off to Florida as soon as he sells his house up there. That'll be quite a change. Nevertheless, the power supply consists of it's a full-wave bridge rectifier system. It arrived with 866 tubes, I think I've got enough, 3D28s to replace those, but all the required filament transformers, the filter chokes, the big plate transformer, and a couple of large caps, and peripheral accessories. So, like you, Jim, I think this project is at least a year long. I intend to use the power supply for a linear amplifier, which would be grid-driven, which I picked up at Boxborough. Uses a pair of 4-250As, and I heard, let's see, who was it that was talking about that 4-1000 was too much and 4-100 was too little? These might be just right. Hi. Okay, well, it's been quite a week, but I'll go into that detail. Hope you all guys can join in down there later this evening. Of Connecticut, KD1SH WX10.
Okay, Bruce, very good. Good morning. Thank you very much. So let me bring up my modulation monitor here. There it is. Hopefully we have some modulation this morning. Good morning to everyone on the AM carrier net from KD1SH down here in the quiet corner of the state of Connecticut. Name here is
is Bill, as usual. And also, as usual, running the Ranger 1 with the 75A2 receiver and the Heathkit SB221 to give me about 200 roughly watts out. So there we go. And it is raining down here. Not too hard, I don't think, right now. Drizzling a little bit. I think they are predicting some heavier rain later on in the day. But you know, that's fine with me. I've had a long week, and I plan on staying in my robe and slippers, as decadent as that might seem, all day long. My wife is out in the kitchen making breakfast right now. I can smell that. But I will stick around here for round 2 because she's not going to be through with her breakfast. And we have a little tiny kitchen, and there's not really room for both of us to comfortably use it at the same time. So I will wait until she's done before I start my breakfast. But anyway, like I said, it's been a long week. My wonderful little mom, who made it to 91 years old and had an absolutely wonderful life, made a very, very peaceful and painless transition to whatever awaits her 2 weeks ago. And I am the executor of the estate, and seeing as how a lot of us here on the net are probably of a similar age to myself, we probably all, or most of running to lawyers and running to the town hall and running to the probate court and picking up this form and that form and signing this and having this certified and notarized, and oh boy, it is a heck of a lot of fun. So I had the last week off, leave from my workplace, and used it to the fullest extent to get as much of that stuff as I could accomplished before I have to go back to work. And there's no doubt that I will have to be taking a few hours off from work here and there to tie up some of those loose ends. So no way around it. It is what it is. So all things considered, it's been going pretty smoothly. It could be worse. And I've heard stories about probate from others. So it hasn't been that bad. And my sister and my brother have been a great help. And it's a relatively simple estate, and there are just the three of us, and nobody's contesting anything. We get along fine, and so pretty easy business. So, but anyway, that brings me to something else. Just coincidentally, Al mentioning the Canon A1. My mother had quite a I wouldn't say a collection of cameras, but she did have an A1 over there, and I brought that home with me. And I also have her Canon F1 over here. A number of years back, my wife arranged a surprise Christmas present for me. It was cooperation on the sneaky side between her and my mom. My mom had a nice Canon F1 with a good assortment of lenses, and she really wasn't using it anymore. She had moved on to digital, and my wife bought the F1 from my mom, and they surprised that with me. Surprised it at me. There we go. That's good grammar. For a Christmas present. So I have my mom's wonderful F1 over here. I've had that for a number of years, and now I have the A1. And there's a good assortment of lenses there, and I haven't gone through them yet to inventory what lenses they are. There's a few wide angles, and there's a few telephotos, and I believe most of them are original Canon FD series lenses. Some of them I know are aftermarket. They're Vivitars and things like that. So, but a few of them are real Canons. So, nice old camera, Canon A1, and the F1, of course, also was, I think, pretty much Canon's top of the line at that time. So, anyway, radio projects, tons and tons and tons, and I won't get into that because I've got enough radio projects to last me through this winter and next winter too, and including the wonderful BMW 5100D that I picked up at Nearfest, and I've got an SP600 that I got to get recapped and going over here, and well, like I said, I won't even get into it. On and on and on. So I'm not going to be bored this winter. That's for sure. And hopefully, I won't be spending most of the winter tied up with my mom's estate. No radio stuff over there, but lots and lots of stuff to take care of. Anyway, that is about it for me. I will be here for round 2. I'm just going to sit back and listen, and who knows? So I believe I send it over to Rob, N1ALF. So good morning, Rob, N1ALF from KD1SH.
Yeah, let's see. Sorry, I didn't have my K3FEF muted properly because it's just on my smartphone for a portable listening device. I definitely heard Rob check in, and I acknowledged shortly thereafter that we had him, but let's see if he's still here. He may be rushing on busy with sure. What's one ALF? If you're there, Rob, go ahead and take it. This is N1VIV.
N1ALF, I apologize. Good morning. The two little tornadoes, Oklahoma and Kansas, just blew in down here. They know I'm on the radio on Sunday mornings, and so does the other half. So they says, "Can we come down and say hello to Pops?" And there's Lily being boisterous. She wants to go back upstairs with him. So, but anyway, hello everybody again, and hello Gary. Ran into Gary last night on 160. Now that we're capable of doing 160 with the big help of N1 BCG Clark. So, with a configuration of, I got to post that on my QRZ page, the whole diagram there, and it's working very good off the dipole, throwing a 35-foot dipole up there, and having good reports on there. And hello, Perry, again. We talk to Perry quite often. Welcome to the AM carrier net there. So, not too much here. I did meet, I don't know if I was on last week. I can't remember one day to the next. I keep forgetting to go to my memory class. But yeah, Andy, a couple of weeks ago, WA2 CDL. I like that call sign because I'm a commercial driver's license. At the Hamfest up here in Connecticut, the Nutmeg Hamfest, and finally got to meet Andy after all these years of talking to him on the repeater and here. So, not too much. Pouring rain here. We got a fire department function there at one of our volunteer firehouses, Round Hill. Actually, it's my son's girlfriend that belongs there. Well, the whole family and the whole street here belongs to the fire department some way or somehow or sometime. So, anyway, we're just going to cut out of here. We're going to go up and see whether they want French toast, pancakes, or what they want. So, everybody's sounding good signals. And, yeah, the sidebanders. Well, you know what? The contesters, they come in and they come out, and they only come on once in a while. So it's like mosquitoes. They're here for the summer and then they go. N1ALF, 7-3s, and back to you, Joe. Did he lose me?
Yeah, you're fine. Where are you? One and done, Rob?
Yeah, I just said I passed it over to Joe. I think I was the last end.
Yeah, but you go here for the second round?
No, I think I did. Jeez, sorry, I'm still half asleep. I was up late last night there. No, I'm done, Al. Thank you very much. I apologize.
No problem. N1 VIP, you there?
Yeah, Rob caught me heating up my coffee. Just listening on the remote receiver, trying to warm it up for round 2, because I wasn't sure if he was there, and I ran up and threw it in the microwave. I've got a microwave down here. I just need to get it set up. So that's kind of a pain. My apologies. I've got you in and out here, Rob, so very good. Great to hear you. I think a majority of folks are signed out, but let's give a listen just in case anybody else is lingering there. Any other check-ins for the net? Any stations anywhere wishing to check into the AM carrier net? Please call now. This is N1VIV. right, well, nothing else heard there, so quite an elaborate round one, for sure. 16 check-ins, so hard to beat that. Absolutely. And we had a great signal in here, Rob, hearing you just fine. Very good on the kiddos and the dog. Everybody's excited there. Very good. Well, just great signals all the way around. Hearing Bruce and hear about the passing of your mom, Bill, but certainly it sounds like it was the best situation for a long and happy life. So condolences there, and I hope getting everything settled goes as smoothly as it can. Certainly been through that a few times. So. And I guess it is just a part of being, in this frame of age, so just taking it a step at a time. But again, very good conditions all the way around here this morning. Boy, so many comments. I don't want to comment on everybody, but I want to welcome Perry. I was not here last week, so very nice to make your acquaintance there, Perry. And Steve, there in Roslyn, I guess you're going to have a few more months, and then you'll be transitioning to Florida, probably. So that's what it sounds like. But certainly hope that your time getting settled down there goes well. And maybe you'll be down there in time for some of the worst weather on this end. So, but please check in as often as you can up to that point, and stay in touch beyond that, for sure. It's certainly been fabulous having you here for the net, but sounds like change is on its way. And let's see, I was kind of a little curious there. I don't know if George is still around, WB2HJK. I heard him mention that he's using an Isotron antenna. I wonder if that's one of those ultra-compact jobs, or whether it's something more formidable from that manufacturer. But I'd be curious if you're still here, George. I'd be interested in hearing comments specifically on that antenna, because I've always kind of seen those as like, goodness, something that small work, and if you're making it work, then that's very interesting indeed. And as always, Al, great signal down here into Connecticut, and very good all the way around. So, let me give one more listen just in case any other stations wishing to check into the net, please call in. This is N1VIV. Well, that definitely sounded like an attempt. Maybe some muting challenges, but we'll certainly give another listen just in case. There was a station there wishing to check in. Go ahead. This is N1VIV.
Yeah, you gotta mute that remote receiver.
Yeah, well, nothing heard, but I'm sure maybe if somebody's in there getting the muting stuff squared away, we'll be hearing from them. So, very good. So let me go through the list here and see who's staying. There's some question marks, I guess, so I may need to do a control arrangement here for round 2. But it looks to me like, of course, Jim, Howie, and Bob have all needed to jump out. So from there, it will be Gary, K1LC, George, if he's still here, WB2HJK, Perry, W3MMR, I think I had a little bit of a question mark next to Bud, K1LC, and then, of course, you, Al. And then we've got Jerry and Ross checked out. I'm not sure about Steve NQN. And then it would be Ross. Bruce, WX10, and Bill said he was staying. So there's 5 or 6 stations here. I am good for about another 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'm going to need to jump out of here very abruptly. So let's go through and see who we can pick up first. And I can certainly stay right here and do a controlled net situation for round 2. So let's see if Gary's still here. I'll see when I see for round 2 in the AM carrier net. So this is N1VIV.
Okay, very good, Joe. It's nice to hear everybody this morning. I don't have anything more to add. It's a fairly routine life here with lots of the little activities, no big events at the moment, so nothing to relate. Good morning to Alfie, Rob, N1ALF, who was on very late last night. I left earlier than he did, so it's no wonder he might have been a little late this morning, as it was that I got up later, but that's okay. No worries. So, I should be here next week, as far as I know, and we'll see how things go. I think Stevie 2FW is probably hunting DX here. It is a contest worldwide, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he's up to. Although it's not a CW contest, if it was, you definitely would have been busy doing that. So, with that, I'll say 7-3 to everybody. I don't know whether or not George is still with us. I sent it to him last time, and I'm not sure whether I'll try again. But Joe, I'm sure you'll run interference if it doesn't work out. So WB2HJK and all of the group here. This is K1IC. Good day.
Quick one to Gary.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Sorry, thank you, Bob. I forgot to mention, Gary, I sent you an email for those fan covers for your K7DYY. N1LF 73. Thank you, Al. Joe.
Yeah, okay. And by the way, you didn't hear a hum on my signal last night, did you?
No, not on 160. Not on 160. I hear it here on 80 for some reason, and you mentioned that the last time. But 160, no, you were clear.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. That might be a grounding thing. I'm not sure. Sometimes usually it was 160 was the bad part, but so far so good. Anyway, back to net.
Yeah, okay, very good, Gary. And Rob. Glad to hear things are percolating on 160. I'm going to have to see if I can figure out a way to spend some time over there. That was one of the things that I am going to be working on, but it will, as Jim had mentioned, it's going to take months to probably get there, is I'm moving my upstairs shack down here to the basement, because everybody upstairs wants allocation of different space. And I don't really have the need to have a shack up there, so I'm going to really build an ever-expanding man cave down here in the basement that'll include all my ham radio gear and lots of gear for two to three other hobbies as well. Music and other firearm stuff, and well, it's going to be busy down here in the basement, that's for sure. And so, let's see. I've got Gary, very good. You have a great rest of your Sunday. Let's see if George is still there. And yeah, George, give us a rundown on that Isotron antenna if you are still there. WB2HJK. This is N1VIV.
Now go ahead, George, if you're still there.
Well, no, I'm not hearing George. We'll have to maybe wait till next week to get updates on that antenna. But, you might be in a limited space situation where you're using one of those interesting, gosh, I don't know how to describe them, but they're basically stick a 100 and, a 75 meter antenna up on a pole basically and feed it. But I'm not 100% sure of that. So, but they're ultra compact antennas with, I'm sure, lots of compromise with regard to their effectiveness. But if in fact he was using one of those, and that's pretty darn good for 75 meters. I was hearing him quite well. So on down the list we go. Over to you, Perry. W3 MMR, Chester, Pennsylvania. That's one VIV.
And one VIV in the AM carrier net. This is W3 MMR. Well, good morning once again, Joe. Everyone was solid down here this morning. Everyone was at least 10 over 9. Let's do the rundown here of the signals. Hold on, this is the wrong window. All right, here we go. Well, Rob, you were the channel master, Rob. If you're still listening, you were 30 over. Bill KD1SH, you were 15 over. Bruce WX10, you were 10 over. Greg KE1MI, you were 10 over. Steve KB2NQN was 15 over. S9 Ross W1EKG was 15 over. Jerry W1ZB was 15 over. Al, you were 25 over. W1VTP. Bud K1LC, you were 20 over. George was 15 over on the Isotron. He is in Queens, by the way. Gary, K1IC, was 20 over. Howard, you were 10 over. WF2Q. W2MER. Jim, you were 25 over. And Joe and Bob, you guys were 25 over here in Chester, Pennsylvania. So everyone's doing quite well this morning. It is absolutely pouring rain outside right now. The rain has definitely picked up. Still 63 degrees here in Chester this morning. And real quick, Joe, about that Isotron. Yes, it is an Isotron, obviously, and it's a very compact antenna. He lives in Queens, so I know he has very limited space, and he operates with that antenna daily. I usually talk to him every day up on 3885. And he'll hit me sometimes, in the evenings at 25, sometimes almost 30 over with that antenna. So he does very well locally with it. So it's impressive. I mean, the things look to me almost like kind of like a bird feeder, like a bird house. It's kind of like a metal roof. It's shaped like a diamond, and it has just like a loading coil in the middle of it. Then on the top and the bottom are these angled metal pieces, aluminum, that looks to be about probably maybe 6 inches wide. And then the lower the band, the further spaced those two pieces of metal are. So they make a 160 version of it. I believe they make an AM broadcast version as well. But the things they surprisingly seem to work very well for what they are. So anyway, I appreciate you guys letting me in here this morning. It's been fun. I'm definitely going to try to make this a Sunday routine. And it's always good to talk to you, Rob. We do talk almost daily, but it's still always good to hear you. And it was a pleasure meeting a lot of you folks and talking to you guys and hearing you guys for the first time and getting you in the log here. So anyway, I'm going to say 7-3 and listen out. Again, everybody have a great Sunday. Try to stay dry, stay warm for you folks up north there in this cold and miserable October Sunday. So I believe I turned it over. Who I turned it over here? Let me see. Turn over to you, Bud. K1LC, if you're still there. I apologize, Joe, if I'm turning it to the wrong person. But that's who I have here. I don't know if he signed or not. So anyway, Bud, over to you, K1LC, in the fine group here, and 7-3, everyone, from W3 MMR, Chester, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, okay, Perry. W3MMR, the N1VIV. And round 2 of the AM carrying it. Well, that's very interesting on the rundown of that Isotron antenna. Boy, I was hearing them very well. It sounds like it's effective. I've got a couple of friends who have real struggles with space and not wanting to put antenna, and based on that operation, based on the effectiveness of what George is doing there, I might recommend that antenna to my friend up there in the Springfield area. It's very interesting indeed. So, very good, Perry. Nice to make your acquaintance again. Please come and join us as often as you can. We'll look forward to having you as a frequent or regular check-in here to the net for sure. Bud usually does shift gears after round 1, so if you're listening, Bud, have a great rest of your Sunday. Let's get it over to Al, and then the only other stations I have, maybe KB2NQN, and then WX10 and KD1SH. And I've only got about maybe 6 minutes left here. So let me send it over to you, Al, and my best guess is that Bruce WX10 and Bill KD1SH are still here. So those will be the last 2 stations, but I may need to shift gears prior to hearing all of our comments. So I'll send it to you, Al, and wish everybody a good Sunday. I'll listen to as long as I can. If it comes back my way, so be it. And if not, I'll leave it to you guys to wrap up round 2 with the order presumably being W1VCC, WX10, and KD1SH. Everybody else, from what I can tell, is checked out or probably. So, over to you, Al. I'll be listening for about 6 or 7 minutes, and then I've got to run upstairs and get on my way. But hope you have an enjoyable day there in New Hampshire as well. W1VTP. This is N1VIV in the AM carrier.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, we certainly had a good time this morning. I did. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And but everybody is sneaking off into the sunset here. Oh, wait a minute. This is morning, isn't it? Terry, thanks for the signal report. I appreciate it. I got a lot to say here. And I don't know if anybody's hearing me. But anyway, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. And Rosie, she's saying thank you, too. And Ross, I don't know if you're still there or not, but you always have a good, strong signal. And the problem you were having, it seems strange to me because you were seeing problems, but I could not see any difference here on the scope, nor could I see any difference, hear any difference as far as signal strength and modulation level. Just absolutely perfect. I think you're running an ART13. And let's see, I do have a comment to Greg. Perfect display on the spectrum analyzer, Greg, if you're listening out in the other room. Your audio, put Loctite on the adjustments. I like what you did. Yeah, sure, you can add a little more low end if you want. But it's nice and smooth, it's crisp. And I don't mean crisp in the sense of, your ear bleeding audio, but just nice, clear, full modulation. So I would say you've hit the sweet spot as far as I'm concerned. You don't hear that, the proximity, the low end that you hear on some folks' signal is the proximity thing. And it accentuates the bass, and it sounds great as far as like a radio voice, but in real life, when you talk to that guy, you don't hear that kind of bottom end. So that's my opinion, guys. So don't throw me out the window. Bruce, if you're still there, sad about Gary WZ. I didn't know his last name was Brown. This is, of course, the same as mine. But good for him for moving to his retirement QTH. And I hope he figures out a way to get back into New England. And guys, don't forget there's a network of remote receivers that are available, notably the K3FEF receiver in Pennsylvania. He has an excellent antenna system, and he hears into New England very, very well. Unfortunately, he's put up an ad right in the middle of things. But fortunately for me, my antivirus blocks ads, so it just takes it right out on my main receiver. But this one here doesn't have that particular AV, and so it's right in the way, so it splits the display from the controls. But he's still a good receiver. The other one would be Steve, WA1QIX, if he's not busy. He is a lot more busy than Mike FEF, but he has an excellent. His antenna is 90 feet up in the air, and he hears an awfully. He has, he can hear just about anybody. So he's got a good receiver. So there's no excuse for not hearing us. And Bill, KD1SH, man, you've struck a chord in my heart as far as the collection of the F1. Boy, if you ever want to get rid of that, let me know. I've always wanted an F1, although I don't need it. And the FD lens, I have a very complete collection of FD lenses. FD lenses for the Canon was probably, in my view, the best lens ever made. And I have to say I include the Zeiss Icon collection. The Canon FD lens is just an absolutely perfect... You want to say something? What? Yeah, Rosie says hi. Anyway, just wonderful. I've got the Canon dioptic 500 millimeter lens. That's a mirror lens, and takes gorgeous, super telephoto pictures. And it's handheld. The lens is so light because it's a mirror lens that it's just absolutely a joy to use. The problem is that with the new cameras with autofocus, they had to downgrade the glass to make it work, and it's very hard to find anything below an f3.5 or an f2.8. You pay thousands of dollars for an f2.8 lens, whereas with the Canon series, the A1, the AE1, the AT1 is a manual camera, which is actually a joy to use. It's a match-the-needle system. And it's actually a joy to use. I have an AV one, which is closer to a point-and-shoot camera, which is aperture priority. You set the aperture, and it adjusts the speed accordingly. So I have all of those cameras, and they all work perfectly, except for my one T90 that quit on me. Oh, man, am I bummed out over that. So anyway... Jerry's gone, but boy, his 810 rig always sounds super. He does a nice job about that. So that's all I have. Over to Bruce, and you always have a good signal up here in New England. Bruce, and I think you got a kitty that's sick. You might make a report on poor little kitty, and I would like to have the kitty's name. X10 W1 VTP. I'll be listening out. W1 VTP 73.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, the kitty is Button. Singular, not plural, Button. And I'd love to tell you a little bit about it. I think you'd be very interested. But in the, maybe after Joe checks out. And so let me turn it right over to Bill to see if he's there for any final comments. And then to Joe, but after Joe checks out, if you're around, I'd love to chat with you briefly. Okay, Al? So over to Bill, KD1SH, are you still there? WX10.
I am indeed still here. My wife is finishing up her breakfast, so I can head out there and make mine in just a few minutes. So KD1SH down here on the quiet corner of Connecticut where the rain is increasing. I'm looking at it out through the window. I'm also looking at my hummingbird feeder hanging outside the window, and I think it's about time to bring that in because I think the hummingbirds have all headed south by now. So anyway, Al, good comments on the Canon cameras. My first Canon camera, my first 35 millimeter single lens reflex camera was a Canon TX. I don't know if you remember the Canon TX. It was a very simple, basic match needle camera, and that was back in 1976 or something, and it long ago stopped working, and I think I may have discarded the remains. Maybe I should have hung on to it. Maybe I could have had somebody refurbish it. But that was my favorite, just because it was my first camera, I guess. But very simple match needle, easy to use, and nice old camera. And back in those days, they were just starting to get into the autofocus, auto everything cameras, and I don't know if you remember the old Canon EF, Echo Foxtrot. That was Canon's first fully automatic camera, I think. Was the EF. Actually, I don't know if that did autofocus. I don't think it did. It just did auto aperture and shutter speed and all that. But the Canon EF, and it was a big bulky thing. And my mother also had an AE1, and I think she passed that on many years ago. I don't think that's around anymore. But she had the A1 that I brought home the other day, and the F1, and the F1 was always a nice camera. That thing took great pictures. I've long since moved on to digital. Really, I do very little film anymore, but I still have a soft spot for those cameras, and I would never get rid of any of them. And every now and then I'll go buy myself a roll of film and just have a blast with it. Obviously, you know all the advantages of digital, and there are many, but sometimes there's nothing like the old-fashioned film cameras. And I've also got an old Yashica, the old large format, not single lens reflex, it was the over-under, viewfinder over the actual lens. And Yashica 635, I think it was, had a portrait lens in it, and I've still got that around somewhere too. But anyway, I just got through pressing the order button on a DigiKey order for all new caps for my B&W 5100D. So those will be coming in, and through a company called Amplified Parts, I found a nice modern manufacturer triple section 40-40-40 electrolytic metal can that should pop right into place and replace the only stand-up metal can that's in that 5100B. So a lot of times you'll really run yourself ragged trying to find a modern substitute for some of those old multi-section cans. But I was lucky to find that. So I've got that in my hand right here, and the rest of the caps I just ordered from DigiKey. So hopefully soon I'll have that 5100B on the workbench downstairs and going to town with that. Anyway, that's about it for me. Good morning and 7-3 to everyone on the AM Carrier Net, and I will look forward to making an appearance next week too at the same time, same place. So 7-3, and I don't know. I guess is Joe still in there, or did Joe sign out? I'll turn it back over to Joe, I think, if he's still there, and I guess if not, over to you, Al. Good morning, everyone. 7-3, KD1SH, and back over to Joe, M1VIV, if you're still there.
Joe said he'd be leaving at 20 after, so I don't think he's around. You around, Joe? I didn't think so. Okay, on the TX. The TX was kind of, I don't know. It had an FD mount that I'm not sure where that fit in the market, because the A series was well established, I think. Well, wait a minute. It was manufactured in 75. No, I guess I'm going to have to say it was a precursor to the A series, and it had the top shutter speed of 1/500, which is not really a big deal. The A series was 1,000ths, and of course the T90 is 4,000ths of a second. So I still have actually 2 T90s left. I had 3, and I had the most recent one is the one that died, and I still have a remaining 2 T90s. So I think the game plan is to use one of the T90s as my main film camera, and the other one, the green one, will be my backup camera, because good old Reliable it just isn't going to fail on me, I don't think. And that has the MA motor mount, which makes it an automatic camera as far as film advance goes. So thanks for your comments, and let's keep in touch on this stuff. I'd love to talk to you some more about that. So 7-3 to you. I stick around if you want, but I want to get some more information on Button. I like the comment about not plural. Oh, me. Yes, indeed. So over to you, Bruce, and stick around if you want, Bill, and we can have an email exchange. I'm good in QRZ if you want to talk some more about this. I'd love to hear what you've got for FD lens collection, especially. As I say, I have a complete collection as far as I'm concerned. But they're buried out back, so what I'm going to have to do is tear apart part of my parts room, because I have a coffee machine that's in the way, and you can plow through my one particular shelf to see if I can rescue some of my lens, because I do have a rather complete collection of lens. So over to you, Bruce. WX10, possibly KD1SH, W1 VTP. So how's Button doing?
Well, the most important thing is she's alive, and that might sound rather blunt, but as I take a few minutes to explain what's going on, I think you'll appreciate that comment. On Tuesday morning last, Mary Alice and I woke to a cat howling outside our bedroom, and there was Button lying on the floor howling. Now, let me interject. Button never says anything. She, unless she has maybe trapped, like in her cage, or when we're going away or something, she will only have the merest peep. Meow, meow. That's all she ever says. So howling is severe. And anyway, there she was on the floor, grappling with her front legs and paws, trying to do something, and with nothing happening below her waist. I'll just use that terminology so we know what we're talking about. So what she had, and I'll abbreviate this somewhat. Button has had a history of heart murmur, a severe heart murmur. She had a heart murmur, I think, from her birth. And the kitty cardiologist, who we saw about 10 years ago, predicted that she would not last for another year. That would be age 2. Button is now 11 years old. So she's a tough fighter, okay? Nevertheless, she was in dire straits on Tuesday morning. We rushed to the vet just as they unlocked the door at 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning. And the docs weren't supposed to be there till 9, but fortunately one came in early. And so she saw Button. The doc, when I say vet, that's what I mean. Apparently it's a common thing that's a byproduct of heart disease. It's called, the official name is saddle thrombus. Saddle thrombus. It indicates a situation that a clot has traveled from the heart down the aorta toward the rear, toward the aft of the vessel, and become lodged at the juncture of the two arteries serving each leg. And if it does that, you're out of business. So, paralyzed in effect. We were frantic, and it's been a terrible week. Nevertheless, they said, well, we'll give her some, we'll give her a blood thinner, which is over-the-counter Plavix, which is clopidogrel, which I know because a year ago when I had, well, more than that now, a year and a half, when I had a heart attack, I knew that drug well. And the vet was having a hard time coming up with a name. I said, oh, you mean clopidogrel? She said, yeah, that's it. So she's been on clopidogrel as a blood thinner. It does not dissolve clots, but, anything that you can do to get some extra fluid into those legs, I suppose. The next day, and she also gave her a shot good for 3 days of painkiller. That was through a shot. The next day, we went back. A second vet at the hospital suggested we come in. That would have been Wednesday. That's when that vet started using terms like kitty heaven. We should prepare ourselves for kitty heaven. Well, we actually did. And let's see. And then she said, basically, if she didn't get some blood back there, she used a very vulgar term. She said her legs would rot. In other words, I think she was trying to say gangrene. Well, I appreciate that too. So then on Thursday, so we had another appointment scheduled for Friday, but Thursday they said, why don't you come in early and let's see how she's doing. So the vet's office has been very, very thorough in contacting us and keeping track. So we went on Thursday, and the first number one vet took her temperature again. I meant to say, when you, if you get this saddle thrombus, your temperature in your hindquarters drops. The cat's normal temperature is between 100 and 102 in her anus. But Button's temperature was down around 97, 96, something like that. So when we went back on Thursday, her temperature was normal again. And so to our delight and to the vet's delight, there was hope. So we got another shot of pain. No, that was Saturday. So anyway, we made it through Saturday. I went in at 11 o'clock, and we asked for another pain shot just in case, because the office would be closed. And the number two vet who we saw again, who was talking about kitty heaven, was not talking about that anymore. She was rather amazed that she could see that there was movement in her thighs and in her tail flicking. So we'll cut this a little short. So last night we noticed that one of her rear paws was swollen. It still is, but the office is closed, and we didn't want to travel all the way to Burlington to emergency care, and then we'd have to go through the whole routine again. So we just said fine. So we got up this morning. Oh, and by the way, Button's been sleeping on or staying on the couch. And we have a plastic sheet underneath a bunch of towels because she didn't really have any control over her bladder, I suppose. And we've been having to clean up every day. So we got up this morning to see how she was, and she was gone. Gone. G-O-N-E. I said, Mary Alice, Button is gone. So Button had decided she had had enough of this couch business, and she had dragged herself into the bathroom so she could find the litter box. And she had gone into the litter box and used it to defecate and to urinate. And so she had been out, and she was sitting on a rug before in front of a tub. And so that's it. Now she's had enough of this couch business, and she's in the shack. She's in the shack here, resting in front of the gas log stove. So are we out of the woods? No, far from that. But it's been a dramatic week for us and a dramatic turnaround so far. Now we have to pay attention to her paw, and hopefully that circulation is getting down to that. So that's a long-winded explanation of what we've been going through, but that's where she is. And by the way, she was here in the shack when Rosie commented, and Button was unimpressed. So back to you, Al. W1VTP, WX10.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Boy, what, talk about the comeback kid, huh?
I think so far. Got her fingers crossed.
Now, what's with the paw? You went into a fade. I didn't catch what was going on with the paw.
The left rear paw became swollen last evening, rather dramatically. It's about maybe 1.25% normal size. Well, 125% normal size. So it's enlarged. We don't know. I have a suspicion. Vet number 2 was very sort of forceful in looking at her toenails, the cuticle of her rear toenails, which gives you a clue of the color. Normally they should be reddish. When she saw Button on Wednesday, they were blue. Not good. That's blood that has no oxygen in it. So she was pretty rough there, and I'm wondering whether she just didn't scrape her, or maybe there's a little infection going on. We'll take care of that on Monday. That's the paw, but I don't know if it's related. Well, it could be related because the vet was fiddling around with her toenails on earlier this week. Over.
Yeah, you want to tend to that, Sheriff, because that could be a circulation thing, and that would really be bad. Yeah, okay, well, great news. I mean, she's come back, and I think I've said this before, that dogs have owners and cats have staff, and so you need to tend to Button's needs for sure, and oh, that's just what a story. And these kitty cats can be very, very brave. And so far, Rosie, she's kind of back to normal now, and she's laying down right next to me, right here. She likes to be. If I'm here at this end of the shack, I have a sidebar just for her. And she sits here and she listens to us do our talking and stuff. And this is the only place where she'll actually make comments, as you call it. And at the other end of the shack, in my recliner, is where I do my single sideband operation. And she'll come and she'll go up on the footrest, but she doesn't make any comments. She just sits there and you know, it's she sits there, lays there actually, and so boy, what a story. I mean, rather it's not a story, but what an account. And yeah, I would definitely go take her to the docs. I like to use the term doctor. I don't know where they came up with the word veterinarian, because they are doctors, and take her in and get that circulation problem taken care of. Because if you recall, for humans, one of the signs of congestive heart failure is the legs are swelling up and collecting fluid. So I don't want to sound alarming, but that definitely is. You know, she needs some attention there, whether it's some other medicine or whatever. You know, the other thing would be, I don't know if they would be able to bandage up her foot to a point where the swelling would go down, because it sounds like she's got fluid retention in that paw, and I don't know if it's recommended to have a tight bandage on it to keep the, you know, like a compression sock that people wear. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but I would definitely look at that as You need to, you're doing a good job. I mean, good for you, Bruce. And on a side note, it's great that we met, you and Mary. Is it Mary Alice? It's Mary, anyway. It was really nice to meet you at Nearfest, and I hope that we can have another meeting and maybe talk some more about this person to person. Anyway, back to you for any further comment. And I was going to say the bowels, probably, the bowels non-functioning, but now she's managed to, she apparently does not have a function of her legs, and so she actually pulled herself along, which they can do. And you can actually get a little wheel affair. I don't know if they'll leach that out or if you have to buy it outright, but if she gets a paralysis about a more permanent basis, you can actually have this thing where they can strap to the back and they can pull themselves around with their front legs so that they can, they don't have the indignity of dragging themselves around. So that's a thought you might think about. But that was great. She had this strong. Well, kitties are like that. They got their box and they have to use it. And Rosie actually yells. I call it yell. She yells at me when I need to attend to the box. When it gets a little unpleasant for her to use. So to put it nicely. And she's due for cleaning. Anyway, okay, thanks for the update. And I am most interested in how Button comes. Well, what a comeback kid, I'll tell you. And that's kitties are they're sentient beings, and they know who they are, and they have their own individual personalities. And so we'll be listening for any updates on that. WX10, W1 VTP.